Holy Hey Arnold musical parody, Batman! Tiki here, and I have been watching through each and every episode of Batman Beyond for the first time. Dragon, tell them why we're here.
Well, you see, folks, long ago, I made a vow to educate Tiki in the ways of Batman the Animated Series, serving as his spirit guide to Gotham in a way. But that was the past, and we must now enter the Batman's future.
That's right, and tonight we're talking about rats! I don't know if there's supposed to be an exclamation point or not, Dragon. Because on HBO Max, it says on the title of the episode, rats exclamation point. But then when you actually go to the episode, it's just rats with no exclamation point. But regardless, we're talking about rats. Yeah. Okay.
I was so mad to find that out. You have no idea. When I found out HBO Max is screwed with the title yet again.
Did they literally just is that they just put the exclamation point in there just because they felt like it?
I guess they were huge fans of the Hey Arnold musical rendition of Rats, so yeah.
All right, well we got Code Geass in the comments along with, oh my god, this is a blast from the past. Demona B, man, good to see you. It's been a while.
Yeah, I forgot to mention the Just Giggle at Discord. There are some survivors in the wreckage.
Oh, okay, nice. Well, yeah, Demona, we're definitely happy to see you for sure. Let's see. In Code Geass, he says it's interesting how Batman the animated series and Batman Beyond both have an episode with rat-themed villains that aren't Ratcatcher.
I'm going to get to that momentarily, but yes.
All right, so the question is, Dragon, what did I think of rats? I think this is a very interesting episode. I got to tell you, Dragon, as far as just my personal phobias go and everything, I am not a rat guy. I am not a giant animal guy. I am not a fan of creatures, a large quantity of creatures overpowering a larger person. So this episode was just all of that shit. And you know what else I'm not a fan of? I'm not a fan of creepy incels, and this episode also had its share of that as well. So yeah, Dragon, this episode definitely did not hit my comfort zone. I will say from a storytelling perspective, I like it. I absolutely think it could have been stronger if we would have had a little bit more focus on the actual Rat Boy character, because honestly, I just feel like he doesn't have enough screen time to really flesh him out as a character. And I know exactly what I would cut to give him that screen time.
Ooh,
we'll get into that.
Someone's got a scene he doesn't like.
It's not that I don't. It's just more of the whole and they fight and they're fight and look at them fight.
Oh no! I hope you're not going to cut the scene I think you're going to cut. No.
Look at them fight. Look at them fight.
No, not that scene. No.
God. It's a fun villain, Dragon. It's just superfluous action.
Yeah.
All right. Anyways, let's see. Kogia says this is one of the more memorable episodes for me because it was so strange. Yeah, memorable is a good word for it. I definitely wouldn't put it up there with, the best episodes of the series that we've seen so far, but it is definitely memorable, for sure. Also, it's nice to see, this is definitely probably the biggest Dana episode that we've gotten so far, so it's nice to see her in the spotlight. And Dragon, just to tee it up, I love Dana's father and the little bit of screen time we get with him.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome, isn't he?
He has hands down my favorite moment of the episode.
Yeah, he's wonderful.
So, all right, with that in mind, Dragon, let's go ahead and get into it. How did this crazy head trip of an episode come about?
Okay, so this was directed by Batman Beyond mainstay Kurt Gaeta. The one
Crazy Kurt.
Sure, or the good Gaeta. The good Gaeta. All right, so yeah, he did Disappearing Ink, which was also a kind of sick and wrong episode, depending on how you look at it.
Right, right.
Also did Splicer. So again, I wanted to highlight the sick and wrong episodes that Kurt Gaeta has brought to us.
Fair enough.
The writer on this was Rich Fogel. He did Heroes, which gets a little reference in this episode, and The Winning Edge and Bloodsport. So yeah, the studio worked on this, as you can probably guess. Some nice, warm, refreshing cocoa with some little delicious small marshmallows of Dong Yang in the mix. Cocoa and Dong Yang, yes. So here's the thing. So I can't really say definitively what happened on this one. What I can tell you is that the Ratcatcher is the basis for Rat Boy here, as you probably guessed. Now it's interesting, as Kogias, I believe Kogias mentioned it. Yes, as Kogias mentioned it. In Batman the Animated Series, everyone always forgets this because Condiment King always gets the love and is the bane of our friend Laserdude's existence. But the point being, yes, in the Make 'em Laugh episode from the third season of Batman the Animated Series, Joker had gag villains, and one of these gag villains never got enough love was the Pack Rat, which was kind of a fun takeoff. I think because in the comics there is the Rat Catchers, like, do we need another rat themed guy? I think that's ultimately why he didn't catch on like wildfire. But again, these are gag villains, and the only one actually had life. There's like, you know what? We don't care. There's not really a Condiment King. We want to make a Condiment King. It's such an insanely good idea. That's essentially what happened with that. So the Pack Rat was essentially a comedian who was in this ridiculous kind of rat-looking costume. It was very homemade, and he would steal all the pointless stuff, like the boxes that the jewels came in, and like the pocket length. And not, he had a really funny gimmick of the three comedians, personally. Anyway. So, point being, so we've done that in Batman series before. That was kind of as close as we got to kind of a rat catcher, and then this episode, I think it's a lot closer to it, but still is kind of a Batman Beyond kind of update or kind of a revamp of an original Batman villain, which is what we've kind of done before with something like Spellbinder. So, we've kind of reached back and we've kind of pulled them out here. Now, interestingly, this will relate down the line our coverage here too, in an unexpected way. Alan Grant and Norm Brayfogle, they created this character, if memory serves. Brayfogle was one of the two artists on this, I think, but he was Brayfogle is a wonderful artist, and he created the Ratcatcher. At least one of the pairs of skilled hands in the mix there. So so. There are similarities to Ratcatcher and how this Rat Boy operates, believe it or not. Ratcatcher, he's big on kidnapping and torturing his prey with rats. And, I mean, in a roundabout way, that happens here.
Oh, I mean, honestly, Dragon, the fact that, like, we rushed so quickly into the torture element, that is kind of the one thing that really rubs me the wrong way with this episode, but we'll get into it.
It's a sick and wrong episode, so it's
It is. I'm not even saying from a sick and wrong point of view. I'm just, again, with the character development, I feel like there was maybe one more character beat that we needed to hit with this guy to get to that point.
Tiki, I don't think you're wrong about that, but I do kind of take the point of, usually when we do that in Batman the Animated Series, and I don't know, it's kind of a weird stance to take, is that ordinarily when we do that, we kind of add like elements of depth and kind of like compassion, or at the very least empathy to where the villains are coming from. Now understanding what we usually do there, you can see how that might be problematic here.
Yeah. I don't know. I still think you could have fleshed out the motives a little. I don't know. I see what you're saying. I do see what you're saying.
Talk about his motives enough, though, I feel, because he's going to mention it a number of times. And we'll cross the bridge when we get there. Anyways, what we can talk about. So there is kind of this trend, specifically in the 90s, even though we are kind of like, we've bridged into 2000 by this juncture of Batman Beyond. But let's just say, a few Harold similarities in Batman the Animated Series in the DCAU corner with Batman when you think about it. Because we have two characters in the 90s called the Sewer King. We get the David Landers Sewer King from Hey Arnold. He's playing chess all day in the sewer.
This is true.
And we have the Sewer King from Underdwellers.
Yup.
And of course, we also have the catchy the thing Andrew Lloyd Webber's like, darn, I missed it. Was rats. We have kind of rats in Hey Arnold. We have an episode called Rats. Only difference is one probably actually does have an exclamation point. And last little fun fact. Rat Boy, He's got a voice that might be familiar to some. I don't think it's going to be familiar to my associate here, but for those kids at home, Tara Noah Smith plays him. He's a child actor all grown up. Would you care to wager a guess what he is from? Tara Noah Smith.
I can't possibly. I'm sorry.
I had a feel. I know it's gonna be a long shot. I just wanted to throw it. Mark Taylor from Home Improvement, Tim Allen's son, the youngest son from Home Improvement. Now, I don't know if you remember Home Improvement like at all. I don't know. Did you ever watch it or like?
Honestly, the only thing I remember is the whole the fence.
Wilson and the fence. Yeah.
Yes, that is where, and Tool Time, like
I know.
Tool Time.
You're not wrong. Those are the parts of the show, no question, for me as well. But anyways, he had these three sons, and basically the way Home Improvement
I actually vividly remember me and a childhood friend getting into a debate about what was better, the show Home Improvement or the in-universe show Tool Time.
In-universe show.
Oh, absolutely, without question.
Yeah. No, Tool Time it's the same thing with like SpongeBob. I love the Krusty Krab segments most.
Right.
Anyway, so fun fact with Home Improvement, because it went on for so long, like most shows do, it went for 8 seasons. And it's nowadays kind of an economic kind of runtime. I guess like more then than now. 0.8 used to be the standard. Then things changed.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway. Because of that, you have kind of eras of the show in which you kind of like each kid was at their best of the three boys. You had Taron Noah Smith was at his best when he was the youngest in like the first season. Then you had the middle child, with Jonathan Taylor Thomas, who was kind of good, literally as the middle child, right smack dab in the middle in the teenage years. And then the adult years, you had Brad, the eldest. So it kind of, I know it seems pretty straight. Now that I say it out loud, this kind of occurred to me, how funny is that? The eldest is better when he's the eldest. The middle child is best when he's the middle. And the youngest is better when he's the youngest. How funny that works. But here's the reason I bring it up. So you can't control what happens when these kids age. So when young Mark grew up, they realized they had nothing for him because he was the cute kid. And when he grew up, it was like, oh man, we have nothing to do with him writing wise. So they made him angsty. They made him like an angst. It made him like, imagine if Eli Roth had a goth phase.
Oh, that's horrifying.
Yeah, that's a sense.
I do not want to imagine that.
That's the thing. They gave Mark this weird angsty goth phase that they never properly addressed. It was they poked fun at it, but they never really like. Should we talk to him about this? Like they never did that. It was just he grew out of it in the last season, but he had like 2 seasons of him like that. It's really weird.
Honestly, Dragon, that idea that you just put forth is more disturbing than anything in this episode. Ooh, Eli Roth's goth.
I don't know. There is something darker in this episode. I wonder if you had to. I think you picked up on. We're going to get there when we get there. We'll see if it's darker than Eli Roth's goth phase. Anyway, let's break it all down.
Just to get through some comments here, Demona B says, "I don't mind rats. Everything with more than 4 legs is worse." It's funny. I think with like rodents in particular, I think my phobia for them really, like, I never liked them. I mean, not many people do. But I think my phobia for them kind of what?
Unless they're in French restaurants.
Right. I think my phobia for them kind of like manifested during the pandemic just because of the whole they are diseased thing. I also do not like things with more than 4 legs, though. I agree with you there. Let's see. Kogia says he thinks it's a missed opportunity that they didn't make the rat boy a relative of Pack Rat. And
no, he's just kidding on that. Come on.
I do agree with him, though, that they could have had a serious take on Ratcatcher if they wanted to.
That is fair, yeah. That's the thing, but it's kind of at a point we're in Batman Beyond where we're kind of like we need to make him a little modern, a little younger versus like just full-on Ratcatchers. I don't know. It's like I think like we should have done him in Batman the Animated Series, but we just didn't.
Let's see. He says there's a comics writer named Alan Grant.
Mm-hmm,
That's the same name as the main guy from Jurassic Park. I believe we've gone over this before.
We have. I forget if Alan Grant was the creator of Ventriloquist. I think we brought him up. Assuming he was, then we did that. Yes.
Did I make an Alan joke?
Yeah, incessantly. Yep.
The best moment in Jurassic Park 3. He says Sewer King is an underrated Batman villain from an underrated episode. It's honestly been I can't really tell you how I feel about that episode one way or another. It's been a long time.
Sewer King's got a good. I remember how you felt about Underdwellers. You kind of reveled in it, but I don't know if it was for the right reason.
I did like it a lot, didn't I?
I still love that moment. No one ever talks about how great this moment is from Underdwellers, where Batman shows up and he sees all these poor abused kids, and you just see how pissed off he is, and he breaks out the little camera's evidence because he knows he wants to strangle Sewer King until but he doesn't want to do that. He just wants to make him do it by the book.
Yeah. Let's see. We got Richard's victims here. He says they made him angsty. The scariest sentence a long-running TV show can get.
Yeah.
Also the
a rat. In fact, a rat could literally.
Yeah, the fact a rat could literally eat you alive if there's enough of them is what. Yeah, power in numbers, man. That's what freaks me out too. I hate anything that's like I hate the very concept of like a large collective of smaller things gaining up on you. I hate that as a concept.
You can imagine when we're watching the Suicide Squad movie, Tiki's like covering his eyes. He's watching it through his fingers. I can't believe it. Yeah.
Ugh. This episode's frankly worse.
I mean, really, we ate like a giant starfish with like a bazillion rats at the end. Then we had.
Yeah, but it was a giant starfish.
But then they jumped into the eye of the giant starfish.
Again, giant starfish, not human.
All right, fine.
All right, let's break it all down.
Okay, so we see the media hyping up the giant man-eating rats. Little news
Is this a plot point that ever comes back?
Well, no. Remember, it foreshadows the whole like it's a misdirect for the build. We the audience are not expecting a rat boy. We're expecting just giant rats. It's a misdirect thing. So it's proposing like they're giant rats and we're seeing kind of in the shadows, but we did not know they were working for somebody.
And I do agree with these girls though. This is not something you want to be seeing on the TV while you're trying to eat.
Nope.
Very much ruins your appetite.
Okay, now here's the dark thing. On the rewatch, it kind of blew me away. Like, oh man, we really went there on this. I mean, of course, it's one of those reminders. Like, man, Kids WB, they really went for it. And here, unlike the Spellbinder episode,
Kids WB Dragon, they don't fuck around at Kids WB.
That's the thing. Here's something different though. Okay, unlike the Hooked Up episode where we said, okay, yeah, we found a way to bring them out of their comatose state. We actually killed people in this episode. And no one talks about it. And here's the thing. On the rewatch, there's a really great creepy foreshadow I completely missed where in the beginning, Chelsea and Max, I don't know if it's because maybe they left it ambiguous enough that they got away with it or not. Chelsea says to Max, like, didn't that girl Sally disappear a few months ago?
Right.
And what we say at the end of this episode, it's like that confirms it. Like, oh God,
she definitely, yeah. I did catch that. Yeah.
Let's see. So Dana, she's mad at her boy. She's mad at Terry.
She's mad at her boy. Well, you specifically used the word boy. I'm sorry.
Well, still, he's our boy. He's Fidel.
Oh God! All right.
Anyway, so Dana's mad at Terry.
Yes. And I love how we just kind of like start in this place. This is a great kind of like start of the status quo here in this episode.
This is really funny. This is something I think this is a Kurt Gaeta touch. I'm convinced. Kurt Gaeta's very self-aware of the show that he makes, and he's really that when he directs, and it feels like he's playing into the danger of Batman Beyond since it was announced. Like, oh God, it's going to be all sorts of teen CW BS if we're not careful.
And this is the kind of thing where it's like this whole like him ditching her to go work for Bruce, like it could get old, but I feel like they do find a way to like every episode freshen it up a little. Like I have not felt that get repetitive yet.
So I love that we have kind of there's this self-aware tone of soap opera during this scene where you watch like Chelsea and Max. Yeah, they're going ooh, and Max and Chelsea are they're eating their food while they're watching.
They're practically just munching on popcorn while this is going
on. That's the thing. So I love it. It's just the self-aware thing. Yeah, we know what this show could become, but we're gonna be smarter than this. We're just gonna play into it a little bit here. Like, yeah, we're teeing it up, but we're gonna subvert it, kids. We're gonna throw giant rats at you. It's gonna be fine. So she called. So again, she calls him out on ditching her, and that she cares more about his job than her. And Terry, I love how reasonable Terry is in this scene. He's not like like being mad or blowing up at her. I think it impresses Max and Chelsea to a
Mhm.
degree. One could say. Whereas the fact that look, I got I got responsibilities now. My mom and brother depend on me. Like, what do you want? He's just asking very genuinely, what do you want, Dana? It's just like to come first occasionally for some. For someone to think of me occasionally.
Mhm.
Anyway, so anyway, so she storms off. She does the CW walk away. She walks away angry. Does the Smallville thing. She walks away angry. And Chelsea's girl time. Anyways, meanwhile, it's Max. Reaffirms that okay, it's too bad Terry can't tell Dana the truth.
Right.
And we know Terry really can't tell Dana the truth because Bruce Wayne would have such a world class fit. You
Oh my
have no
god.
idea. He would be so mad. Anyway, so Dana, she goes to her car and drive off in a huff, but she finds something in the car. What does she find in the car?
She finds a note, Dragon, and asks me what the note says.
Well, what's attached to the note?
The note says, I'm sorry, I couldn't resist.
Okay.
Okay, in all seriousness, though, Dragon, this was at the height of the Friends' popularity. You can't tell me this isn't a reference.
Yeah, remind me, what year did Friends start anyway? It was in the
Friends
90s.
started in, I want to say, the early 90s.
That's what I'm saying. If Friends was in the early 90s, let's see, it's going to be 10 years. So,
Hold
yeah,
on, I'll look it up.
I
Hold
think
on.
Friends, I'm ballparking, I think Friends ended in like 03 or 02.
03, I think. I remember when it ended.
Implies that Friends started maybe in 93, which means a whole bunch of Friends anniversaries will be this year.
94.
Okay, well, I guess next year's going to be Friends Palooza. Okay.
So, yeah, I mean, that was right, season 7-ish? That was, probably the height of the popularity. I don't know. I'm just saying, that specific set of words in this time period.
Fair point. So, it's attached to like a little pretty little white flower, and also it kind of I like how it feeds into what Dana said earlier. Says, "I want someone to be there for me, so I'll be there for you."
Oh,
She,
god damn it, you're right. It does feed into that. It's probably not a Friends reference because of that.
I mean, again, Kurt Gator's like having fun with the soap opera thing. It's not out of
If
their own.
Kurt Gator is known to have fun with it, shit, then I don't know. I'd be surprised if it wasn't a reference.
There's one episode I got to look when we get to it. We'll see if Kurt Gator directed it also. If he did, then absolutely confirms that thing I just said. Then, because if he did the robot episode, oh boy. No, not the robot episode. Everyone's thinking of the other robot episode.
Oh god.
Oh, taking the other robot episode's a head trip. Anyway, also all sorts of ethical bounds.
Oh,
anyway,
boy.
So let's see. So again, she we have this thing where she's again it's kind of in relation to what she said to Terry, and she's thinking this is Terry's gesture, like little Hitley dropped this off before he was making his apology. So she's thinking a romantic gesture. Meanwhile, later that night, the phone rings, and Maddie answers the phone.
Yes.
He does his usual musical anthem.
Dana.
Dana.
Which I think is again a very funny kid brother. He really works in that department.
That is practically his catchphrase, by the way. He always says, "It's Dana."
It's Dana. That is
all the time, every time. So I love this where Terry picks him up like by the scruff of his neck and just drops him outside the room. Anyway, so Dana's in a forgiving mood thanks to that flower, and Terry's like, "Wait, what flower?" Well, he's always practically saying, "Oh, what flower?" Also, a little with the Hey Arnold parallels to this episode. Doesn't this feel very much like a Hey Arnold Lila situation to you, just a little bit?
A what situation? Sorry.
A Hey Arnold Lila situation, just the whole thing of the alleyway with the chalk outline, the whole you said you liked me, the whole the whole misunderstanding.
Oh god, yeah, a little bit.
No, I didn't. I mean, it doesn't mean I don't, but I didn't write that.
You know what I think of every time I think of Arnold and Lila?
Don't tell me Arnie.
No, oh god, I love Arnie, but I think of the puke dragon.
Oh. No, I know
Remember
you're talking
when he
about.
pukes on her on the carnival ride?
No, I know. Yeah, yes, yeah.
It's just like that is such a symbolic omen of what their relationship was.
Wait, so he threw up on her?
No, she threw up on him.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. When you say I heard it the other way, it's like, yeah, that's not how that happens. Yeah. Anyway, so let's see. Anyway, they have a date, Tiki. Where are they going for their date? The big date.
Oh God, I forgot the name of the chili
The
place.
catchy name, Rhino's Chili. They're going to
It is a
Rhino's
very
Chili.
catchy name, Rhino's Chili. Yes.
Which, the back of my mind, every time I hear this place, I am ultimately thinking like, what if Rhino went straight and he opened like a chili place? Spider-Man's Rhino,
Of course.
But it's also there's a Batman Rhino too, which also makes me wonder. What if that Rhino went straight? So maybe like he named his son Rhino, and Rhino opened the place.
There was actually a guy on Survivor who was named Ryan, and then his last name was O, or his last name started with an O, and they just called him Rhino. Yeah.
Quaint.
I knew you wouldn't care. Just wanted to bring it up because it was on my mind. All right.
Okay, so like they have a date at Rhino's tonight. As Wild Jokers couldn't keep me. Well, he should really be careful when he says that sort of stuff because that's going to happen to him. Thankfully, it doesn't quite happen to him verbatim here, but
more or less, yeah.
I love this gag too. This is always like they use this one out of context a lot just to show he's a young Batman. Where just this idea of like I'm going to wear that dress you like. Whoa, it's like. I like
remember them using that a lot.
I like the little wins for Terry, like, yeah, good for Terry, good for like, yeah, the beautiful girl in his arms is going to wear the dress they like, and it's a heck of a dress. We'll get there. Anyway, so also he tosses a shoe at his brother when he gets all like Dana on him. Okay, so
specifically the KISSING thing, which Dragon, I will admit, that is like the one time that Matt has actually annoyed me in the series so far.
Really, that's the line for you the whole.
I really don't like that trope. It's just drawn out and annoying, and every. I don't know. I really don't like.
Sometimes you have spaces at the end of the page, Tiki.
Fair enough.
All right.
Let's see. Richard's victims, really quick. He said, I'll be there for you, even if it's not a Friends reference in the 90s. It's a Friends reference. I agree. And honestly, just the fact that note comes back several times. All right. Richard's victim says, and then Peter gets a chili dog and just has a double take where he's like, hold it. Is that Rhino?
And although probably like Rhino, just like he can't take the suit off. He would just be still in the Rhino costume.
Oh my God.
Anybody probably like wearing an apron or something. Peter Parker would be like, what, does a double take it? Oh, thanks. And he's like, wait, what? Spider sense. I thought it was like there was like like the hot sauce on the chili dog or something. Be good.
All right.
So anyway, let's see. So right. Okay. So here, big scene. Dana says goodbye to Mr. Tan. Let's talk about Mr. Tan.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like in this first little appearance, I didn't really think much of him, except for the fact of like, oh, he's not really giving Terry a chance. That's kind of shitty. Or more specifically, I kind of got annoyed where it's like, I sort of wish that he was more defensive of Dana over like, you're still giving that guy a chance, even though he stood you up so many times, instead of just going to the whole, like, he has a record. I don't know. I kind of feel like writing-wise in the actual episode, it would have been a little bit stronger if he would have cited, like, come on, Dana, all he ever does is stand you up. I don't know.
That's a fair point, but you know what I read from this scene? I don't think you're wrong at all. We could have done that, but what we do get from what we do present is that I'm reading between, and I should probably mention this too. And sadly, we're not going to see Mr. Tan again.
No,
I know. That's
a shame. That one moment, Dragon. That one moment.
Let me put it to you this way: we won't see Mr. Tan animated again.
Okay.
We're going to see him one more. It's going to be memorable. Trust me, you're going to love when we bring him back. We're going to bring him back one more time, and it's going to be really good.
Fair enough.
But yeah, an animation, sadly, say la vie. Anyway, Mr. Tan, the way I read the scene, it's a lot of headcanon, mind you, but the impression I get from the scene, just looking at the house and how he's dressed and everything, it feeds into the world building of Batman Beyond, where you notice there's very much kind of an Asian design element to Neo Gotham. There's very much.
Sure.
I think the idea was that the logic was in the '90s we were very much almost like a Back to the Future sort of gag of like the best stuff's made in Japan sort of thing, where we were going the way of like there was going to be maybe like a lot of like. The way Batman the Animated Series was animated, of course, we shop things out overseas all the time. You had a couple of Japanese animation studios, so perhaps the logic is that hey, in the future, we're gonna have like a lot of trading and a lot of opportunities coming in with Japanese culture, and perhaps it'll be a thing where to better ourselves, and maybe Gotham in making itself better and kind of rebuilding Gotham, giving it kind of like a facelift. The way they're going to do that is they're going to invite overseas investors to the city, and they're going to improve it, and they're going to kind of revitalize the architecture and everything. Perhaps like I guess what I'm saying is perhaps the Japanese influence is what kind of made Gotham the future. That's maybe what gave us some of the world building of the city, and you kind of see it in the architecture. So the logic I have is perhaps I'm thinking Dana was born in Gotham, but perhaps her there's like an immigrant story to a degree of like Mr. Tan was a businessman overseas and he went over to Gotham, and maybe there's a bit of an elitist sort of thing. This guy is probably successful and he had like maybe a hand just in general, like a lot of the the Japanese business.
No, I mean honestly, just based on the architecture of the house, like you said, the fact that they're clearly like more upper class than the McGinnis family, like I definitely got the vibe that is what it was, that he was being elitist.
Well, that's it. I mean, not even just like the interior of the house. Like the interior of the house looks like okay, so it's kind of a modern, futuristic interior, but on the outside, it's very Japanese traditional. It's a rock garden outside. And the way he's dressed kind of very almost like not feudal Japan. He's wearing somewhat of a kimono or like kind of like. But here's the thing: it's like a modernized. So it's like kind of like casual business attire, but it's also kind of like it's themed. So I don't know. Looking at that kind of makes me think that perhaps like this is a guy who's done well for himself. He seems to be an important guy, and he has enough to have like a very specialized house. And he's coming down on. He's judging Terry like a lot of people have judged him because he has a record, and but he's not. I don't think he's saying it purely like a hate-filled place. I think he's saying it because like you can do so much better. It's a father who wants the best for his daughter, sort of thing. No one's ever good enough for my Danakins. Anyway. So, but again, I love that Mr. Tan seems like a nice guy, protective, but again, he's a nice guy, but he staunchly will defend his daughter. When he hears like a noise on the outside, he grabs this golf club, admittedly a random golf club, but I guess the idea is he's a golfer. Grabs a random golf club, and he's gonna knock a sucker out, when he sees like the silhouette of the rat. Anyway, so of course, she leaves. Everything, coast is clear. She leaves. Meanwhile, Terry's on his way to meet Dana. Then something happens.
Yeah, he gets a call, and my God, Dragon, he should not have willed the whole, gang of Jokers thing into existence. Because, like you said, it's not like verbatim what happens, but Bruce Wayne is a call-in, and no, it cannot wait.
Oh, so I love how Conroy delivers this. It's very kind of going through the motions and like popping the boy's balloon here. It's always like, please be a wrong number, please be a wrong number. And it's Bruce Wayne saying, "Mad stands out again." What's his gripe this time?
Terry, you're needed.
God, so Tiki,
I have slides to show you, Terry. Slides.
Come on, I'm getting chilly, Mr. Wayne. Can it wait? No. I'll bring you chili. Still no. Come for the slides. Darn it. Anyway, so I know, seriously though, Tiki, I'm dying to get your thoughts on Mad Stan.
Okay, so like I said, Dragon, Mad Stan, honestly, what's funny is that my main observation for Mad Stan is that I feel like Mad Stan and the Rat Boy are kind of like the two types of shitty people on Reddit.
I mean, kind of. I'd say more
like creepy incels, and then like the stupid, like, man, everything's fucked up, and I'm gonna vent about it.
Yeah, I don't. Reddit might be a little. We're kind of narrowing the field down, but I mean, sure, I guess In general, yeah.
I did find it interesting that both of them are kind of like modern day internet figures to a certain degree.
I like that to a degree. Mad Stan is kind of like somewhat like a lockup beyond to some degree.
A little bit, yeah.
He's very very right wing to a degree. Basically, what if right wing just like lost the salivating at the mouth, just completely went crazy.
But like I said, though, unfortunately I do think that the fight scene with him does go on a little too long. Maybe we could have had one more scene with the actual, main antagonist. Even if it's just making him even more unsettling. I'm not saying you have to give him sympathy points.
And maybe Tiki, but I'm going to say this: we're going to get more Mad Stan because of his runtime we got in here, and that's
well, Kogia says he says he heard that Mad Stan was supposed to just be a minor one-time rogue, but he was popular enough to be a reoccurring.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So Tiki, giving him this extended action sequence, I think cemented him to the point. We love writing Mad Stan. We got to bring him.
I mean, he is a lot of fun, Dragon. I'll give him that. And honestly, I'd be curious to see an episode written around him. I'm not sure if that's how he's going to play out, or
yes, kind of,
or if he's going to keep coming into be, because I could see his value as essentially, Dragon, honestly, ironically enough, speaking of Rhino, he does feel very much like the Rhino level. Like, we need a villain to distract Peter Parker, but not like an A-tier villain.
I concur. He is very much like that's the thing. Mad Stan, he's a mad bombing meathead of a guy. So he is kind of like a big, he's big, burly, and dangerous and loud. But again, he's not smart enough to be an actual threat. He's a threat in the little TNT sense.
Mm-hmm.
So speaking of which, Henry, the wonderful Henry Rollins.
He's basically dumb Tyler Durden.
I mean, I guess. Yeah. so Henry Rollins plays Mad Stan. Now, Tiki, do you remember who Henry Rollins is?
Is that Elliot?
I'm sorry, Elliot?
I know Elliot from E.T. He's Henry something.
No, that's Henry Thomas.
Oh, okay. I was close. All right.
Different Henry.
All right.
He plays a different DC character in Stargirl.
I don't know who that Henry is.
From Legend of Korra.
I don't know, Dragon. I'm sorry.
Zahir, the cool bad guy from season 3 of Legend of Korra. Zahir, the air.
Oh, okay, cool. I would not have guessed that. Yeah. But yeah, you're right. He was a very memorable villain.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyway, so Mad Stan, he just kind of burst on the scene here, and the idea he's like an anti-establishment conspiracy theorist bomber guy.
Which again, I feel like this.
Sadly, the show was ahead of its time with how prevalent this was.
That's the thing, Dragon. This villain feels weirdly current.
I mean, look, the sad reality is in the late 90s, especially, I guess mid to late 90s, you had real life occurrences where you had gun-toting kind of mad bomber types who, of course, resulted in great tragedies and kind of permeated the culture. You have basically, I don't want to bring the room down here, but Waco did have a chain reaction in the culture, and then you had that was basically the fire got lit for the private military kind of guys. Not private military like paid work. I'm just saying the guys who are out in the woods with the Jeeps and everything, the Humvees and everything, like those kind of
yeah.
So that was kind of the start of all that sort of stuff, and that kind of led to especially in the 90s, it was a prevalent thing. So it's okay, so what if you had an offshoot of that, but only he was a lot more mouthy. What if this guy's yelled all of his Reddit tweets or Reddit texts or whatnot? Down with the establishment. Let's
again. This guy just very much feels like he would be right at home in some sort of anti-government Reddit forum.
But let's talk about where they are right now, though.
Okay,
they're in a library.
Yes,
all places.
That is funny.
Information overload, man.
Oh my
Vid
God.
clips, email, sound bites.
He's basically venting about fucking TikTok.
Yep, there's one sane solution. And of course, it will pause. Blow it up, and he puts. And this is the scene. I swear to you, I think this moment right here is the scene that's cemented. Like, we gotta bring that stand back, where he yells like, "There's only one sane solution." Places a bomb on our hero's head. Blow it all up. He puts adheres a bomb to his head and tosses Batman like a rag doll across the room. Like, that's a first impression for you. There's a character for you. Like, come on. It's like, what if Bane were what if Bane were a moron? It'd be this guy. What if we took like the Schumacher Bane, like bomb, but gave more flair? It'd be this.
Yeah,
guy.
a little bit. It's pretty much exactly that, honestly.
Yeah. Let's see. So we have like he's reached. They have this brutal bit where Tiki, while extended, it is really cool. He reaches through the data bank, and he's like grabs Batman's head and like throws him through a couple machines. This guy's insane.
Yeah.
For this, I'm missing a date. Of course, cut from the funny line to Rhino's Chilli. So Dana's going to give him 5 minutes. He's earned 5 minutes with the flower. So then we have.
I've got to say though, it's like I do find this whole moment with Zayna. I'm sorry, I'm reading here in the comments with Dana. Very relatable. Where it's like, fuck. Okay, 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Let's see what happens from here. I do not like the feeling of this.
Nope. It's going to get worse for her. So we have some brutal wrestling moves where he basically impales Batman's long bat ears into the floor.
Right.
Yeah, but these action bits are really cool, though.
Yeah, you know how I feel about action in the show in general, Dragon. I just when it gets dragged out, I don't know.
I mean, that's true, but still, like if you saw like a Batman fight going, you'd want at some point you always. I wonder if his ears are going to embed in something, and like, oh god, they got embedded into the floor.
Sure.
Anyway, so let's see. So he cuts like the bomb cord on his vest, and it all blows up. And this giant thing gets embedded into the wall, and he just like passes out. It's a Mad Stan fight. Point being, Mad Stan forever.
I guess the thing that bothers me though is just that like it literally takes us over half the episode to get to like our title character. And so for me, I don't know, as fun as this guy is, the pacing just feels off.
I mean, you're not wrong. I think the logic was, okay, we need the show. Like, Terry hasn't just like one and done this guy, and then he's went off today, because otherwise he would have gotten there on time.
I mean, I get the logic of that. I don't know. I
think it's just the passage of time. But you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Yeah.
In a perfect world, we would have added like maybe 5 more minutes to this episode, but All right, so let's see. So Dana, she's had it. She's walking off. She spies a familiar flower in an alleyway, and she goes to investigate. And it's a very how well lit is this scene? Because they have like the rats and shadows, the red eyes coming out of the shadows and everything. So Dana passes out. I think any of us we saw giant rats. I mean, other than their lives. And then she wakes up on a bed of white flowers in the sewers.
Oh man, that's a contradiction.
We do have this cool subterranean like pack rat lair going on with a rat boy. I mean, how cool is this lair design?
Yeah, it's cool. I'm sorry, Dragon. I need to get to some comments here. The comments are kind of stacking up.
All right, we'll go.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. I just there's not really a good time to do it. I wanted to do it right after that fight scene. Okay, so Richard's victim says, so it's women suck guy, and wow, I can't believe these people are eating hot dogs on July 4th. Don't they know about MK Ultra guy? Yeah, pretty much. He's a mob man to the meathead kind of guy. So Rhino? Yeah. Okay, we got a little bit of debate about Zahir versus Amon. Dragon, who do you prefer?
I mean, look, it really is hard to top up. Here's the thing. Zahir no one ever gives Zahir enough credit, whereas Zahir is really cool, and they have like a whole philosophical thing. He actually, he got further than anyone ever got in terms of our bad guys. But I mean, Amon had build up, man. Amon had build up, and then he had the divisive choice with Amon that some people didn't like, and some people like, oh man, that's really cool for him. So Amon had a bad backstory galore. That's the one thing Zahir did not quite have.
I will say, I think Zahir clearly has the better season,
Yeah.
But I think ultimately Amon is the more memorable of the two villains, if that
Plus,
makes sense.
Steve Blum is really hard to top.
Uh-huh.
Steve Blum, his performance of Amon is great. I am the solution. The whole thing.
All right, and really quick, Richard's victim says, now I'm imagining Electro deciding to stop crime and run a food truck.
Yeah.
I mean, I could honestly see Jamie Foxx Electro from Far From Home doing that, or No Way Home. I'm sorry, No Way Home. Got the homes mixed up.
You gotta know where home is, Tiki.
God, home is where the heart is.
Yep.
Which I believe that's what I wanted that movie to be called. Anyways, back to the episode.
You want to hear a ridiculous Jamie Foxx Electro thing?
Sure.
Okay. Electro opened a bakery.
Oh, God.
Do you know why he opened a bakery?
Why?
The top of Amazing Spider-Man 2, the one reference we had to the costume colors, he he had that little cake in the fridge, little lightning bolt.
Oh, God, that's right.
He probably made that. He made that cake for his own birthday so he can bake. Electro's opening a bakery.
Oh, man. All right. Yes, Dragon, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to, dismiss your question. I was just looking for an opening. It is a very cool lair. And also disturbing. It's basically what if Ariel had kidnapped all the people that she got her human shit from, Dragon?
Pretty much.
It's basically that.
Kind of.
Look at my stuff. Isn't it neat? Wouldn't you say my collection's complete?
Yeah, so we meet Patrick the Rat Boy.
Oh, God, just that name.
Yeah, so he's kind of an interesting combination of things. Obviously, there's Ratcatcher in there, but there's a little bit of he's kind of yes, there's the Pack Rat character that we saw, but also the Mad Bomber from the Grey Ghost episode, who was basically Bruce Timm as a toy collector.
Oh, God, right, yeah. A little bit.
So let's see. So this guy, the idea is
a little bit of Pigeon Man.
I don't know about that.
Just with the whole avoiding humans thing.
Okay, that's fair, I guess. Okay, that's a point. All right. So, anyway, so
avoiding
the idea
humans and then using animals as his main social outlet.
Right. Okay. I redact my objections to the pigeon. So, the idea is he collects things no one wants. That's kind of his whole philosophy, which also includes humans.
Mm-hmm.
We see toys he's putting on the shelf, like the magma figure from it's from the Heroes episode.
That was fun. That was a fun reference.
Yep. Of course, while he's collecting, he's also collecting girls, apparently.
Oh, God.
And so he knows everything about.
Dragon, I hate this guy with every fiber of my being. I just want to just get that out there.
Oh, you're kind of supposed to. So.
No, I know, but I will say, Dragon, you do have a point where it's you could have made this dude sympathetic,
which you don't want to do. You don't want to.
And they don't, and I am glad that they don't.
It's again, on one side of the coin, you got. On one side of the spectrum, you got, hey, Mr. Freeze. His wife got sick. The company didn't do right by him, and in fact, they covered up their role in his horrific accident. That's bad. You feel bad for Mr. Freeze. You wish you could really help him out there, even if he is doing bad things. There's moral. Okay, Two-Face again. There's a lot. He's a good man, but he's kind of scarred by the mob, and he did not get proper mental health treatment because of the stigma attached to it and everything. So a lot of stuff there. This guy, on the other hand, just people made fun of me, and it does sound like they called me Rat Boy. It's that's as much that I like.
That's what I'm saying, Dre. If that's as harsh as you're that's instantly kind of what puts me off, and I wonder if this was intentional on the writers' department. The fact that okay, guy, that's kind of a shitty reason to abandon all of humanity because a couple people called you Rat Boy.
Now, unfortunately,
grow a thick skin.
Speaking of thick skin, something that does occur to me in the DCAU that I recall us having a little bit of trouble with as well. Not you and I, I'm just saying collectively. I think some issues with it was Killer Croc in Batman the Animated Series. He got a couple good episodes. Don't get me wrong. He got he had Vendetta, which is a really good revenge episode. But more of someone is seeking revenge. Oh, and it happens to be Killer Croc.
Honest to God, though, with Killer Croc, I feel like everything in Batman the Animated Series is overshadowed by The Rock.
Yeah, The Rock. The Rock was so large it cast a large shadow. But that's the thing. So Killer Croc, you have that. So Killer Croc's always been kind of a cool aesthetic thing. But the problem is, like, we have an episode like Sideshow, which is a really good Killer Croc episode. The problem with that episode, however, is that the way he speaks about his past, there's a lot of like manipulation going on there, and any legitimacy that we have, it's a little in doubt. So the problem is, Killer Croc's whole thing is like a deformity that would have gotten him mocked and locked into like wrestling and stuff and being forced to do it. But again, we played him as he was the greedy criminal. We didn't really elicit sympathy with him with being mocked for a deformity. In Clayface, it was entirely like self-inflicted. The terms like my career is over because I don't look like a movie star.
Sure.
So Killer Croc was like the opportunity to really explore that, but every time we did it in Batman the Animated Series, between that and then the whole, the baby doll episode, Love is a Croc in that episode, it was very surface level. He just said like, "Look at me, Your Honor, give me parole." That's as far as it really went. So because it feels like we've never really had the opportunity to like do a villain that had like a visual deformity they had to live with and really elicit sympathy there. And now we're finally getting around to it. And we start off in that direction, like they called me a rat boy. That's as much sympathy as you get from at the top. Is like, oh, I kind of get why he secluded himself, but not while he's kidnapping people and most likely killing them with rats. That I can't really make the leap for. And then you have like there's the serial killer appeal almost in terms of like the appeal. I'm like, okay, so we have a character that we're not supposed to like, but he is we should understand the methodology where it's like I'm not sure I'm quite fully getting the leap there.
I'm really not, honestly.
I'm gonna hide away from humanity, yet I still want companionship.
Yet I still want a girlfriend.
Yeah, and I mean, to be fair, they left it vague if they were all female. But I mean, just given that opening bit we had, I think it's pretty safe to assume mostly, if not all female.
Okay, but wouldn't it be even more disturbing if he was like fucking like picking up like orphan children and shit like that?
I know the impression again that we've had kids. He said the other kids. So that's the thing. So presumably that means teens as well. We've kind of
like I'm picturing some Dexter season 4, that one episode where the Trinity Killer kidnaps that one kid. Yeah. I'm picturing that kind of shit.
That's entirely possible. That's what I'm saying. I like to think that's broader. It's a broad scope of victims. So I mean, that's the thing. When I hear the incel thing lobbed at this, I don't want to just like level into like, okay, incels are a very specific thing. Where this,
well, I mean, to be fair, this guy is exhibiting like peak level incel behavior, Dragon. He really is.
But mainly because we have Dana right now, where it could have been any number of people as well as Dana. So that's the thing. But you're right. It's kind of incel before incel.
Very much so, yes.
Kind of. Anyway, so point being, he says, he's the story is the surface dwellers teased Patrick, called him Rat Boy because of his rat-like deformity. He found new friends in the sewers that don't make fun of him. And he's again, it's we have kind of a bit of a captive bond. Now, here's the real question: is Dana showing just some empathy? I'm not saying she's actually falling for this, but is Dana showing like empathy for this poor kid was mocked, or is she purely eliciting the sympathy to plan her escape? It's like, hey,
I fully think that she is in full control of the situation the whole time, as much as she can be. Okay. As far as I don't think she's sympathetic at all, honestly.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, do you think it's like sympathy and then I gotta get out of here? You think I gotta get out of here? Sympathy.
That the second one.
Okay. All right. So let's see. So
which honestly, Dragon, just given the situation, given the fact that it's not like he saved her from peril and brought her back to his lair to rest or anything. He clearly took her against her own free will. True. I mean, that's the difference maker.
I think you're right about that. So he takes her to the hybrid flower garden and explaining the whole, I grew these flowers for you. I grew without sunlight and everything. That's how I get them down here. And he saw how...
Have you ever watched Friends, Dana? I'll be there for you.
Well, guys, is really...
Let me be the Ross to your Rachel, Dana.
Be ready for something.
And Dana's just like, actually, that's a very toxic relationship when you really break it down.
No. What if it was this with Patrick? Okay, what if like in his collection, like, well, I just why Dana's asking Patrick, hey Patrick, why I'll be there for you of all the things you could have did. Well, you see, in my collection, I scrounged and I found this box set of Friends DVDs, and I just kind of watched them a lot. And yeah, I thought it was really catchy. I don't know, I thought it had a nice ring to it. Anyway, so
Now that's the kind of like fucking like conversation that we need to fill out this character trait.
there you go. That's the missing ingredient. Also, just on a random note. Also, what if Patrick was like, instead of like here's a rewrite for the episode, instead of like giving her like used jelly beans and everything, like like the weird like bug ridden like jelly beans and turkey jerky and everything. He's like, I'm actually a really good cook. I go up to the kitchen, I make the stuff. He's just like, what if he's like, I saw it on a movie once. Apparently, anyone can cook as well.
Oh, God.
Anyway, that one was really ahead of its time. Anyway, in all seriousness, so I do like the layer of he saw how unappreciated she was, and this has like a cause and effect thing to Terry's action. So it's a little, I like that aspect of it. I like what they're going for there is that a villain saw vulnerability in Dana, seeing her as a victim more than she was. Not saying necessarily she's it's a complicated situation. You have
he is clearly victimizing her in this situation, though.
No, he is. I'm saying Terry. Terry's like not necessarily victimizing Dana, but
honestly, I'm kind of on Terry's side with what do you want me to do, Dana? I've got a job. I'm trying to support my mother who just became a widow.
Yeah. So that's the thing. So I mean, again, we have like our occasional things with Terry, but on the whole, though, Terry is very, he's in an understandable position. But yes, I like the fact there is like our poor hero can't win, so because of this, Dana has become like a target.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
okay,
so
dragging comments here.
Yeah. Go on, read them off. Yeah.
Okay. Richard Victim says it's like that Buffy the Vampire Slayer joke when one of the villains of the week said, "I have my reasons," and it cuts to the villain just being rejected from prom. I have not seen Buffy, but that sounds hilarious. Kogia says people tend to remember Croc, Batman the Animated Series for the Rock joke, but he was a good villain in Vendetta and
They are good episodes. I just wish Sideshow maybe went a little deeper into if Croc genuinely meant what he said.
Is Rat Boy more or less creepy than Sewer King? I would say easily more, right?
Well, that's the thing. Rat Boy's actually killing people. Sewer King is a creepier design.
Yeah, he does, but like I don't know. I think but then again, I feel like the more creepy design of Sewer King is kind of offset by the fact that Rat King literally has an army of mutated rats.
Yeah, Rat Boy.
Rat Boy, not Rat King.
It is. That's fair.
Kogia says the Rock thing was something that Batman said. Well, disguised Batman. Yes.
I know that's. You gotta imagine. Wouldn't it be? Here's a deleted scene from Batman we really need to see. Just imagine this. Imagine like Croc like really upset with Batman. It's like everyone thinks I'm dumb now because of you.
Would that be like a Roger Rabbit thing where it's like they're talking about it offset?
I mean, yeah, probably. Well, no, I'm saying Killer Croc would just have like a thing where he's fighting Batman for the reason he's upset that he basically character assassinated him.
Oh God!
To the villains of God, like all the villains treat me like I'm dumb. I'm not dumb. I got revenge on Bullock. I manipulated circus folk.
That's true. Let's see. Kogia says Friends is probably an old show in the time period that Batman Beyond takes place, so Dana might not have seen it. Yeah,
just they're learning about Friends for the first time. Imagine that was like his big trap to lure teens down there. I'm going to show you this show you're going to love. Okay, it's called Friends.
Oh God!
Pull up a seat on the chewed up sofa. Jelly bean? You want a jelly bean? Okay.
Richard Victims. I'll be there for you. What? Why did you clap? I don't know. I just felt like it just felt right. It does just feel right, though, doesn't it? Although, to be fair, the clapping actually takes place during So No One Told You Life Was Going to Be This Way. Clap, 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 clap. All right. Killer Croc to Batman just being offended at the character assassination. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
So
let us go forward.
Okay, so she says, you can't keep me down here like one of your flowers. And of course, I do like the visual thing here of like you gotta wonder. I'm sorry, just to show you how important a Dana episode we do have on our hands here, Tiki. We have all 3 outfits on Dana in one episode.
Oh my god.
Yeah, all 3 outfits. Wait, did we see her on the blue dress when she called him on the phone or no?
I don't
If we
think
did,
so.
oh man, never mind. Then I was so close. Anyway,
No, she's in the orange dress.
Dang it. Never mind. Point being, we see her in the orange, and then we see 2 of the other outfits she ever wears. Okay, so with the orange, and then we have her in this white little flower dress. So the fact she's in this hot little white number that she's wearing, which looks really nice on her. But additionally, it's designed to make her look like the flower.
Yep.
Anyway, so
yes, we have reviewed a couple Friends episodes here and there. If you go back through our Christmas and July's
and Haunted Holiday Hijinks.
Oh yeah, right. Didn't we review the Thanksgiving one too 1 year?
Yeah, we did.
That's what I thought. So yeah, they're there if you search our channel for Friends stuff.
So anyway. Let's see. So anyway, so Rat Boy firmly won't let her go. And he says, like, I'll get you anything you need. Very creepy. This is where things take the full-on creepy turn. Like, there was like a...
this is where he's just being full-on like, no, I think I'm just going to go ahead and kidnap you, but I'll get you some shit.
Well, I'm hungry. He says, like, you want licorice? Turkey jerky? He says, how about Rhino's? I like that she's trying to ploy him here. Like, but Rhino's famous chili. Let's go up there and grab a bowl, huh?
It's on me.
Yeah. So he says, no, you stay. I'll get the chili.
Okay, now I'm just picturing a scenario where they actually both go up to get chili, and it actually turns into like a very charming date, and he wins her over.
Yeah, so what you're saying is you want birds of a feather beyond. That's what you want right now.
I'm just saying it would be silly.
Yeah, it would be. What, Terry had Melanie? I can't choose one?
Oh God.
I traded the bat for the rat. What's wrong with that? So anyway, so Batman's searching for Dana, and Bruce Wayne's. I like how helpful Bruce Wayne is in the situation. He's on the other end of the lines. He's like, I've checked the telecom and then her cash card.
Well, I would like to think that Bruce Wayne feels a certain level of guilt in this situation. That's just my head.
Yeah. I think that's a good headcanon to have.
Yeah.
Like, well, I mean, I did take him away from the date, and now she's gone. So that, yeah.
Right.
It's like, when you think about it, at the end of the day, what Bruce is doing here at Batman Beyond, it's like, given that Batgirl's in law enforcement, I know the city's limiting them, then that's the whole reason we need a Batman and everything. But you got to imagine, is the GCPD actually doing anything during their paychecks when Batman's not around? Like, are they good at anything? I like to think they are, but Anyway, so he's checking the telecom and any last calls that she made, any last purchases that she made, but she's been gone at least for about a day. Oh, actually, hold on a second. I'm trying to see if we. God, I think we might have missed. Oh, we might have missed the big scene. Oh God. Hold on. Okay. We got to rewind.
I was kind of wondering if you skipped.
Yeah, we skipped. Oh, darn it.
Okay, I wasn't sure.
It's real. So after we missed the jelly bean thing. That's why I forgot the transition. So Terry called earlier before he's searching the city in costume. The reason he found out Dana was gone. So after the Mad Stand thing, he returned home. He didn't find her. He went home. He calls Dana, apologizing. He's a real butthead for standing her up and everything. Please call. But again, he's really worried about her safety. That's a really stand-up thing that Terry's doing. Like, please call just so I know you got home safe. And then Mr. Tan shows up. Mr. Tan comes knocking.
I love the animation on him just rushing Terry as soon as the door is open.
Yeah, and you can tell.
It's just like, that is not just a concerned father. That is like a Liam Neeson in Taken style father.
Yeah, he's threatening Terry, who he already doesn't like or approve of. Dana never came home. It's just like, and again, I like that.
Like I said, it's like, I don't agree with him on the whole, like, oh, you shouldn't date him because he has a record sort of thing. But fuck yeah, if I was in this guy's shoes, I would be doing the same thing.
Terry is the likely suspect. So
Right.
at very least for ditching her all the time. Like, where'd you ditch my daughter this time?
Oh god.
Anyway, so of course, if anything happens, he'll be back. It's like, oh boy. So there's this gives us the worry and the ticking clock that's very palpable for Terry. I mean, look, at the end of the day, he's Batman. If he really push came to shove, he can kick the crap out of him. He doesn't want to. To be honest.
Now
Okay.
I'm just picturing this episode taking a really dark turn where Dana actually dies and then Terry has to fight off him as well.
No. Okay, my headcanon, in all seriousness, I mean, my headcanon is what would have happened if something terrible happened to Dana, or like he couldn't save Dana, or something happened. It would have been like a legal. Honestly, if this episode were extended by like a day passes before he finds Dana, he would have been back with cops, and it would have been like he's like using all of his all of his like money and influence against Terry to like, I'm gonna make sure you're gonna go down for this. Like, you did something to my daughter, punk. He's like gonna think he actually murdered his daughter or something.
Sure.
So anyway, point being, Terry, there's a ticking clock, and okay, something happened to Dana. She's gone. I'm gonna call Bruce Wayne up. We're gonna find her. So first place checks logically is Rhinos, and he sees the patrons are fleeing, which it's. I guess there's a health code violation or something there, so he goes in there. And he's not wrong. He's not entirely wrong.
This is like a horrific real life version of the ending of Ratatouille, Dragon.
Oh, God. So there's a big rodent problem. Terry has this great line. There's a big rodent problem in the kitchen.
Yep.
So we have Terry versus these two giant rats, and how painful does that bite look when they're biting his ass?
I hate it. I genuinely hate it.
Again, the suit's insulated, so he's not actually getting disease rid, in case you're worried. If so, Bruce is going to inoculate him afterwards. He'll be fine. Anyway, so he gets pinned under a shelf, but the moment he hears, oh, come on, we got to get Dana or Chilli. He's like, Dana? He lifts that shelf off. He's going outside. He goes to the alley, and then he's gone. So tonight, I like that he's in action mode. He's just got to win. We have the title of the episode done a very great Peanuts-like way. Rats.
Right.
That's a clever line. It's a Kurt Gator gag right there, like rats. So, let's see. So he finds the trail of Chilli, extra spicy. It's the way she likes it. So now here we go. Here's some great Conroy here. All right. You're going in. I have to. I love there's this pause. Stay sharp.
Mm-hmm. That is probably the great Conroy line. I would second that.
Love that pause, just like Bruce, like not knowing for a second he can't discourage him. Like, stay sharp.
Because like we already established, it is partly Bruce's fault that Dana's even in this situation.
For sure, yeah. Let's see. So, as I said, it goes down there. Okay. So Batman is in pursuit. Dana, meanwhile, she's trying to escape, and she's going through. It very much reminds me of Raiders from the Lost Ark when we had Marion and like.
Oh yeah, definitely. The whole set piece kind of has that vibe.
Because Marion's in like the fancy dress that they had to find a way in the movie that they kind of put her in.
I wonder if you'll agree with me on this point, Dragon. I do like the stuff with Dana escaping. I think it's animated well. It's nice to see Dana, taking control of the situation. I'm glad that we get a lot of screen time for her. I will say this. I do think it's a little bit drawn out, and it's the other area in the episode where I might like cut it a minute or two just to give Rat Boy one more scene. I don't know. What do you think?
Like her fleeing, you're saying you would trim that down to give Rat Boy?
Yeah, I'm saying obviously you need to have the scene itself, but I'm just saying.
No, honestly, I think it's the better. I think it's a better compromise. I think
pacing wise, I feel like it goes on just a little bit too long in the grand scheme of things.
I agree. All right, so we have her.
I honestly think the other one, even though it's a really fun character and a fun scene, it's a little bit more egregious to me just because, like I said, it's like the plot hasn't even really kicked in yet at that point.
Right. So, also a bunch of Easter eggs throughout this, but this is one I want to highlight. There's a little toy monkey when she's looking for a flashlight.
Yes, I did notice that.
Beppo, that little monkey toys. That monkey is named Beppo. It's a reference to Beppo, the super monkey.
Oh God.
So it's Superman the animated series. They did a whole episode about Titano, the essentially in the comics, I believe the kryptonite fueled giant ape, the giant monkey. And anyway, so Titano, essentially,
I just think of Space Ghost and Speed Racer both randomly having monkeys in their main cast of characters.
oh yeah, there's this great monkey episode from Superman the animated series where essentially Lois Lane, as a girl, her father was, your father was general. I think he was involved maybe in the space, involved in this project where essentially they were sending a monkey into space.
Oh God!
And it's a point, and they adopted the monkey for a while. And when they adopted this monkey, there was like this little plush toy they had that made the monkey calm, which they use in the third act. And it's a reference to the super monkey that you had in the comics, which you did not have in the Superman the animated series. Or this little, like, I don't know if it was a clap. I think it was just a plush monkey that you wound up and it played a little song. It was like, this is it, Beppo the super monkey.
Oh God!
Little Beppo toy.
Oh.
Okay, so point man Dana, she's looking for a way out. We see the toxic waste. That essentially the leap you can make is that's what mutated the giant rats. She has this thing. She slips and she loses the light, and then she kind of falls down this. We get into the full on Marion from Raiders thing, where she kind of falls into this ditch, and then she's surrounded by rats, and she's a goner until Rat Boy returns.
The sequel.
Yeah.
All right.
I told you not to wander off. So then we have this thing where this Dana by the fire, like he's trying to take care of her in a demented way, where he's lit a fire to warm her up because she had to dive through sewage. Like, ugh.
I just kind of feel like he's just sort of like in the denial phase of like, okay, this woman is clearly trying to flee from you, dude.
I can salvage it.
Right. I just need to sit her down for that damn Friends marathon. That's my ace in the hole.
I'm gonna sit her down. We're gonna warm up by the fire. I'm gonna give her a stupid chili, and then we're gonna watch Friends, and everything will be great.
She's gonna see Rachel running in that wedding dress on the pilot episode.
That's all she needs, and she'll be perfect. Look, Danny, she's wearing white like you are right now. Give you any ideas? A little face. I mean, I look like in a certain way. I look a little like David Schwimmer, wouldn't you say? Like, come on. If he wore a hat, if David Schwimmer wore a hat,
that is not a nice thing to say about David Schwimmer. No,
I'm saying that's his plea. His plea for
I know still.
Anyway, so she yells at Patrick. She's had it up to here. This is like, some head case that thinks hanging out with rats is a good time.
I'm like, yeah, you tell him, Dana.
Yeah, you tell him, sister.
And he just gets instantly offended, like the incel he is. He's just like, how dare you? You're just like all the others.
So just like all the others, and this leads to the question of have you done? I've done this before with other kids. The world didn't want. He took them away.
Again, it's specifically the word "kids" that really creeps me out.
Well, yeah, we've called teens kids.
No, I get that.
It is vague.
It leaves it ambiguous, though.
Right. Properly ambiguous. And again, kids, on Kids WB. This idea that he kidnapped kids and or teens,
right?
Took them away from all that and gave them a home.
Oh, God.
Then she asked what happened as he's like summoned the rats with the whistle, and they're all menacingly, and this is like, they don't make fun of me anymore. Blows the whistle, and they're about to eat her alive. The rats are encroaching on poor Dana, and thank goodness Batman arrives.
Oh.
Right in the nick of time. And
but I will say, I mean, these various moments in this last act where the rats are like ganging up on her. Ooh, like I said, just the whole concept of like a large amount of a smaller thing gaining up to take down the larger thing. Honestly, truly one of my biggest fears, Dragon. That would be one of my absolute worst ways to die, honestly. Ooh. Anyways.
And so Batman arrives and Dana's like, well, how did you, like, never mind that. So he's like tossing giant rats at the collection. Like,
I do like that Dana takes charge with the whole hockey stick on fire thing. That was kind of a badass moment.
She might not be wearing hockey pads, but she's a hockey stick and lighting teddy bears on fire and helping Batman out.
Right.
Yep. Anyway, so kill him, rip him to pieces.
Oh man.
Batman saying, "Let's blow this mouse house." So Batman rockets Dana away, and here's kind of a pickle here. So Dana had this hockey stick that was lit on fire.
Yes.
Batman's just getting her out of there. Okay, so the fire, she drops the thing unexpectedly, even such a high speed and everything. Drops it right into the toxic waste. That again, that's his fault for poor location of base. I like
right.
So by accident, Rat.
It's just kind of leave it ambiguous whether or not he survived, right?
I meant to look into there's a time comment where he lived or not, but
okay.
There's a chance there is, but I wasn't able to look into it in time.
Correctly, the fucker's dead.
That's the thing. So Rat Boy, he again, he shouldn't have, folks. This is why you don't live in the sewers. Okay, there's methane and there's possibly toxic waste. It's not going to end well. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles are like the exception to this rule. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, they might be immune to this sort of thing. Who knows? Probably not, but still, point they knew the risk. This guy, he knew the risk as well. Sometimes you get lit on fire and then burned alive. So that's what happened. So again, there's question of his survival there, but again, not Batman's fault. Okay, he got the hostage out of there. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so we have a very tight exit. And here's with this explosion though. Very tight, just following him, and probably the methane probably catching a little bit there, and they end up like right out the manhole cover at the very last second. Like, wow.
Sure.
So I think this is a mistake in the episode. I think it's a flub in the episode. We have a human newsman versus the AI newsman.
I noticed that. I'm glad you brought that up. So yeah.
I think what happened is, now to be fair, later on, there's one very specific episode. We're going to have like a gossip reporter who is human, but that's a guy with a TV show that's all about him. Mm-hmm. So that's not quite the news. That's like a gossip inquirer sort of thing. So there are human anchors, or human like a correspondent. Well, not correspondent. There are human people that do news of some kind. Now, I don't know if that means like, we maybe have some newsmen or not, but I'm purely convinced like they forgot about that during the episode. And the overseas animation is like, oh, we need a newsman or something. I don't know. It's either that or in the writing is like, oh god, we realized this too late and we have to leave it in.
Well, you know what I think of that, Dragon?
What?
Gee, I hope somebody got fired for that blunder.
Okay.
That is a Simpsons reference.
All
right. I'm sorry.
So Terry arrives to comfort Dana as Terry, and then we have shut up, McGinnis.
This is a really, really heartfelt ending, man. I really like this ending.
Well, we have this really beautiful moment here. She's like, shut up, McGinnis, and you think, oh man, she might be mad or traumatized. And she's traumatized, but she says, just shut up, and hugs him. And it's like, and he takes her home.
I think the whole message that I took out of this is like, Terry, you let me down and you're kind of a jerk sometimes, but god damn it, I love you, and I now saw what a fucking monster like this guy was, and oh my god, like, you know what I mean? Like, just
there is somewhat of
appreciating the fact that he is there for her.
It's the fact that you have, like, in terms of the types of relationships you could have, you have like a real literal, like, in terms of how he died, a real toxic guy. You have like a flammable toxic waste.
It's so funny that, like, back in the 90s, the term toxic simply was not a thing.
No, it wasn't, no.
Like, this episode, honestly, has aged like fine wine. It really has.
That's the thing. So you have just this situation where she saw, like, a guy who's going to be there and be uber attentive and be too much, be there too presently and to a degree where it's going to be, like, really messed up and everything, where it's like, Terry is there when it counts. At the very least, here's the thing. Terry makes an effort. That's the thing I think at the end of the episode Dana kind of sees, where it's like, Terry is making an effort and he is trying, and at least he's there for a bit. Admittedly, you can see that the long-term problem is that, well, even if he's there, he's going to leave after making his obligatory appearance. It's not quite the same, but he's trying, though, and maybe they'll iron that out. Maybe they won't.
Uh-huh.
So, it's, and the fact we end on the whole "I'll be there for you" flower and blows. What is your take on the "I'll be there for you" flower blown away at the end?
I didn't really think too hard about it. Sorry.
I mean, like, I don't know. I wonder, like, I think there's like two ways to read. You could read it as like, okay, it's the Rat Boy has been defeated, or
I'm so sorry.
Or you read it as anyway, you read it as like the Rat Boy is gone, or you read it as like the death to the toxic relationship, or you read it as like, hey, Terry is there for her in a way that
I kind of read it as Terry is there for her.
Okay.
All right, and that is the episode. I'm going to get into some comments, going to kind of speed round them
Yep.
because this episode's already kind of running a little
Yeah,
long.
we had a lot of friends fun though.
We did.
We had fun with friends.
Kogias says, "Was there ever an episode where they reveal what Terry has a record for?" I believe
Yes.
so, right?
Yeah, it's coming up. Yeah, not immediately, but it will be coming up.
Also, Kogias, I'm saying this is someone who is like kind of like a chronic over apologizer herself. You do not need to be sorry, man. It's totally fine. I'm just happy to have you. All right. Let's see. The Gotham police are ostensibly good at their job. In reality, Gordon relied on Batman to do all the hard work. This is one of the few episodes where Dana gets a lot of screen time, has more than a few minutes of screen time. She could have used more development. Yeah, I'm saying some of that stuff where she's just walking around the sewers kind of feels like empty screen time, though. That's the unfortunate thing.
Yeah.
It's cool. It's animated well, but
yeah.
Monkeys are the great equalizers of media. Yeah, especially after Nope. Richard's victim says, Dana, please just sit down and at least watch the episode where they get the turkey stuck on their heads with me. I mean, that is probably one of the best episodes, so that wouldn't be a bad one to choose. Now that I think about it, the Joker film also brought up Gotham having a rat problem. Ooh, that is true. Okay, Richard's victim says they don't make fun of me anymore. Seriously, this is what this guy is about? Come on, guy, get a better motivation. This is embarrassing. I agree. Even Ratcatcher and Suicide Squad isn't the same Ratcatcher from the comics. Yes, no. Yes. Let's see. Almost there. And then out of nowhere, Steve Harrington comes down and hits the rats with his bat. Terry just says, "Who the hell are you?"
What? Actually,
I'm the babysitter.
What would you think of that guy, Joe Keery, as Terry McGinnis?
I could see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's see. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Are they turtles long for the sewer? I'm sorry, I don't really get what that's in reference to.
I mentioned the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles with the whole sewer toxic.
Oh, okay. Dana appreciates Terry because he's not a creepy rat obsessed insect.
I mean, long and short of it, yeah.
Yes. I'm in a toxic relationship. Oh, like he's green?
Or is it Tim Curry serenading you?
Oh God. Let's see. It was his final invitation to watch Friends. How far are we in? About an hour and a half, hour 22. I guess maybe she's sick and tired of being rebound material. Well, if you're fed up with Terry, just dump him. Yeah.
She loves the boy.
Really, she's rebound material. Although I will admit that, yeah, that one time was pretty questionable on Terry.
Yeah, no, it was bad. It was a...
All right. Okay, so final thoughts, Dragon. Honestly, I think my point still stands. I think this is an intriguing episode. It's certainly memorable. Definitely gets my phobias flared up. But I do think that the screen time, like the distribution of screen time and the pacing is a little bit wonky. Still very solid. Probably, it's definitely not like a top 5 of the episodes that we've covered so far, but I can see why people really like it. I can see why it's a memorable one.
Yeah, again, look, Rats is not my go-to in terms of the Batman Beyond episode. It's not bad, but I think certain aspects of it held up a lot better than I remembered it being, in terms of like one, I forgot, like I remember Mad Stan's introduction, but I forgot like how wonderfully woven in it was, just in terms of the whole like what's gonna keep Terry from his big date. It's gonna be Mad Stan again. And the dark twist. I completely forgot about how dark the rat boy thing truly went. So that was that was impressive to me. But it's not a go-to because also it's not like a super heavy Batman episode because it's with Dana. But by the same token, though, we do need development on Dana. We did get a lot of that here. And again, look, at the end of the day with Rats, the takeaway I think you'll agree, really, is Mr. Tan. Mr. Tan always was like the standout scene from this episode, and
I agree. I definitely agree. Yes. All right. Lucas Green. I'm sorry, I didn't even notice that you asked how far are we in. I thought you were talking about like how, because I brought up that this episode was going a little long. I thought, no, we're at the end of the episode. You came in right at the end. I'm sorry.
Yep, sorry.
That was dumb of me. Just to thank Lucas Green, Richard's victims, Kogias, and the long lost Demona B. Again, great to see you. Great to see you. All right, Dragon, cue us up.
A mind-bending misadventure, poorly timed pleas for help, floating albinos. Can Batman save a gifted child before the Brain Trust kidnaps her? Will Edgar, all grown up, give us nightmares? Tune in next time to find out. Same animated bat time, same animated bat place.
On the next visit to Batcave Beyond with Mind Games.
Rats.